Welcome to the very first episode of Pros Who Know. Ask Holly. Joining me now is Holly Sammons. She is president and CEO of the Better Business Bureau of Central Florida. Welcome, Holly.
Thank you. So excited to be here.
It's all about Holly. Ask Holly. We have a lot to talk about because this is brought to us by the Better Business Bureau.
Right.
And really, this podcast is designed to help us be smarter, wiser consumers and to help businesses be better business people.
Right. Better Business Bureau has served for years, over 30 years in Central Florida, as the place to go for advice for consumers and for business owners. And you know, we really realize that as we're out in public, there are so many questions and there are so many well-meaning consumers and business owners that there is a place for Better Business Bureau to be there to provide advice, to provide some information. And so Ask Holly just made sense because whether I'm getting my hair cut or having my oil changed, it seems like the conversation goes this direction. So we're going to make podcasts for the viewers, hopefully that will be information that they can use, information that they can take into their own life so that they can be better consumers.
So Holly, tell me a little bit about your background. What brought you to the Better Business Bureau?
So I came to Better Business Bureau right out of college. I graduated from the University of Tennessee in Knoxville, and I came straight to Better Business Bureau. I have also worked in crisis, public relations, and also in TV. So for me, it was a natural fit to be in front of the camera and do these types of interviews. But what I really found that I loved about Better Business Bureau and working in the nonprofit sector was that you can help people, you can make a difference, but then you can also be a part of watching your community grow and flourish.
And that you've done for quite some time now. It's interesting. So talking before we started the podcast, there was a comment made that, you know, the Better Business Bureau was like Yelp before there was Yelp. Let's talk a little bit about that. I love that concept.
Yeah, we like to say that we are the original reputation management. We've been helping businesses and consumers communicate for over 100 years. So we want businesses to be successful. We want consumers to be able to find businesses they can trust. We know that ultimately if the buying and selling process is painless or you know, more fluid for consumers, that it's better for everyone all around. Business owners, they are certainly in the business to become successful, but they also want their customers to be happy by and large. There are obviously the bad players out there, and part of what we feel responsible to do is call out that subpar behavior, and that's an important part of the information we provide, but also to applaud businesses who are doing things the right way, and hopefully to make better consumers, because ultimately it just makes the buying and selling process less painful.
That's right.
And it helps consumers really feel more comfortable spending their own money.
So it's interesting because wow, what complicated times we live in. The marketplace, it used to just be worried about bricks and mortar stores and service-oriented businesses. Now you've got to have your eye out for social media and online. So the marketplace has gotten very complicated. How has the Better Business Bureau kind of evolved to really stay on top of this space and this new way of buying and selling and doing business?
So the interesting thing about Better Business Bureaus for both businesses and consumers, there are over 100 Better Business Bureaus across North America. Where that is an advantage for consumers and businesses is that we all communicate and we all can share information. So if you are looking for information on a business owner, we can provide you that information in a pretty comprehensive way, because even though he or she may be new to town, we have access to information from perhaps the city or state that they came from. We also can pull together a lot of information into one place so that consumers don't have to feel responsible for, because let's face it, we as consumers, because you and I spend money, we're consumers too.
That's right.
We are not experts in roofing licensing and electrical contractors and all of those different facets where you may need to spend money. So we want Better Business Bureau to be the place that consumers can come to for all of that information in one place, information they can trust. We receive complaints, of course, and we also receive customer reviews, which we vet in a very similar way to complaints. So we want to make sure that we provide a lot of information for consumers. And that is good news for quality businesses because they want their reputation shared.
So having said that, going online and checking out, if you just Google like reviews of a certain business,
right,
the consumer may not be aware that a lot of times they're reading sponsored posts, sponsored reviews, and that's kind of where the Better Business Bureau cuts through the clutter with an unbiased, objective, vetted out opinion and evaluation of these companies.
Right. So our customer reviews, when we decided to get into the customer review space, we knew that we would have to do things a little bit differently because we did not want to be able to receive customer reviews from anyone and everyone. We wanted to make sure that we could put some vetting in place. And so what we do is when we receive a customer review, we send it to the business and we give them an opportunity to respond to the review, both positive and negative. They also have an opportunity to say, that's not my consumer. When they respond to us, those responses are posted online side by side. So if it's a positive review, we encourage business owners to respond to those too. If it's a negative review, we certainly encourage business owners to respond to the negative review because let's face it, even quality businesses have a misstep every now and then. What makes the difference to consumers, we find, is that the business owner and that the business takes responsibility for it, and how are you going to make it right? I think many of us as consumers find more value in how do you fix your mistakes rather than, tons and tons of pages and pages of positive reviews. I'd rather see when it goes down, how are you going to make it right? We know that that's really important to consumers to see both sides. And so we knew we had to do it differently, and we feel like we have. So
in addition to reviews, consumers can file complaints, legitimate complaints. I'm sure you don't want to be inundated with, silly stuff, but give us an idea of that process.
So the interesting thing is, Better Business Bureau, we don't judge the validity, easy for me to say, of the complaint. When the complaint comes in, there are certainly a list of things and a list of areas that we don't touch. We don't get into certainly the care provided to you by a physician or landlord-tenant disputes or employment law. There are areas that we just don't get into because there are other oftentimes government agencies that take responsibility for those areas. But when a consumer files a complaint, that complaint comes into us, we send it to the business. The business has the opportunity to respond. That response then goes to the consumer. Then the consumer has an opportunity to respond. And then the Better Business Bureau ultimately, when both sides have been heard, ultimately closes that complaint. Both sides of the conversation and the complaint process are made available to the public. So again, consumers can read the experience of other consumers because oftentimes the experience that other consumers have had may be similar to the experience that you could be looking forward to. So, it's important that business owners take seriously their reputation management, and that is both reviews with us and other places, and also complaints. It's important, certainly, that you respond to your consumer. The difference, the only real difference for Better Business Bureau in complaint response is if a business is BBB accredited. It used to be a Better Business Bureau member. Now it's a BBB accredited business. If you are an accredited business, you must respond. And if you do not respond, your accreditation is at stake. Certainly, we revoke businesses' accreditations on a bi-monthly basis who have not continued to adhere to the standards. It is important to us that the businesses who wear our brand or carry our trademark adhere to those high standards, because we understand that Central Florida consumers, it means something to them.
Absolutely.
And so you can rest assured that an accredited business certainly will be responding to your complaint and in a timely manner.
So the podcast Ask Holly literally is about asking Holly. So what we want is for all of you listening and perhaps watching to send in your questions. If you have questions, whether you're a business, an entrepreneur, a consumer, you can go to the WKMG website and ask Holly, send in your question. So share a little bit about what you hope to achieve with the forum.
So we're going to cover different topics. We're going to cover different industries. What we know here in Central Florida and in the state of Florida in general, there are quite a few industries that are different here in the state of Florida. They're just different than, say, in the state of Ohio or in the state of Kansas. You know, our roofing standards are different. Our window standards are different.
Yes.
We may have different real estate laws. There are differences to doing business in the state of Florida.
Right.
That's important for businesses and consumers to understand. And I think it makes for a better educated, more comfortable consumer if they can hear those differences and be better prepared when the time comes that perhaps they want to purchase a swimming pool or want to have a new roof installed. There are differences, and so it does matter, you know, what kind of business you choose and how they're licensed or how they're certified. It does make a difference. So we're going to cover a lot of different topics, both for consumers and for businesses, but we hope that the information shared will be interesting to everyone.
So here you go. So send in your questions to askholly@wkmg.com, and perhaps your question will be read in one of our future podcasts and answered.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We would love that.
Ask her. She's here. Holly, thanks so much for joining us. And I look forward to future episodes. We have so much to talk about.
Right.
And especially with the holidays coming up. One of our next episodes will deal with holiday scams coming up. So I can't wait to pick your brains.
So we know that come holiday season, that's a time that good guys, good businesses, and bad guys, scammers, know that most of us are in the spending mood. We're in the spirit to give. And so there are a lot of things that we want to share with consumers to make this holiday season as pleasant and as easy to give and as cheery as possible. We don't want anyone to walk away from this holiday season regretting some transactions.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Holly. Thank you so much for joining us. Be sure to check back as we constantly release new episodes of the podcast, Pros Who Know, Ask Holly. So keep up. We got a lot to talk about and so much great information to share that will save you money and save you a lot of mistakes in the marketplace. All right. See you soon, Holly.
Yep, see you next time.